Ratnam, and I'm currently working for WSO2 in the Asgardeo team as a senior technical lead. I'm here today to talk about how you can add a login to your React application soon. I hope faster. So begin with, there are two ways you can do this. One, you can build a login by yourself. The first thing first, right? So when we say a login, basically what it comes is username, password as the first thing. So first you need to implement a username, password login, and then you will need to think about managing your login users. So then you have to again think about user management, right? Then after that, then it comes to like authorization, how you manage your authorization of your application. And then you might need to think about securing your login more, like building up a strong authentication using multi-factor authentication and such as. And then again, you can't just keep one login mechanism. You might need to think about adding like more, maybe social login, like more options for the users to log in, right? And then, of course, token management, session management, single sign-on, compliance requirements. All these things are keep on growing, and you need to think about all those things when you are building a complete login system, which will start with the basic and then will go to the enterprise level as it goes in your application. The next thing is, maybe you can just forget about all these complexities. You can bring an identity provider and then simply maybe register your application and use the identity provider to get you a login to your React application. So Asgardeo is one of the IAM solutions out there. So let me show you how you can easily get it done with Asgardeo. So this is what you need. First, of course, you need to get the SDK installed, right? That's the NPM package, which is provided by Asgardeo. Next, you need to import the provider and wrap your application. And then you need to register your application in Asgardeo side. And you just need these two simple configuration and configure your provider. And after that, you can decide which content that you need to show for the authenticated users and non-authenticated users. And based on that, you can use these two components and wrap this content how you want, whether to show it for authenticated users and for non-authenticated users. Then, of course, this is the interesting part. So now the main thing, so login page. So if you have a login page, you can simply import the sign-in component and add it in your login page, and which will render a login box, which is highly customizable with Asgardeo's AI-powered style editor. So basically, you can just add your login box to your web React application, and after that, you can style it as you want to match your React application, rest of the UIs. And if you still don't want to use the UIs, the component also exposes a set of CSS variables as well as a set of CSS classes, which you can stay on your application and then style it as you want without going back to the Asgardeo UIs to style it. Then, of course, the next thing, you need to design the login flow. For that, also Asgardeo has a login flow designer, which is AI powered. You can either use prompt or you can manually design your login flow and get the expectation or the behavior that you want to give it for your users. Either you need to have SMS as the first factor, or it has to be second factor, or how many like social logins you want to have, etc. Then, of course, same as sign-in, you will need the registration page as well. So that component is also available out of the box with SDK. And then you would have seen this component pretty much like all these web application like Facebook, Google, you name it, everywhere. You will see these user components on the top. You can simply import this component and use it within your application, and which will render a drop-down menu for you in your application, which you can simply add it to your header section of the application. And same way, if you are building a business-to-business application, this is also a use case. You might need to have an organization switcher. And for that also, there's a built-in component you can simply add that to your header, and which will give you the capability to switch between the organizations that you are having in the Asgardeo configuration. Okay, so that's all you need. Basically, for you to get fully end-to-end application secured with Asgardeo for you to move forward. Then, of course, there are a set of other components that expose from the SDK, which is basically building up for you to further customize the behavior. If you don't want the drop-down behavior and you want to have some static pages, etc., you can still use these components to build up the behavior that you want in going forward. And also, all these components are like having the extension point. If you are familiar with React render props, you can bring your own design system. You don't have to stick with the component renders with the SDK. If you want to use Tailwind or MUI or whatever the design system that you have, you can use it. Using the render props, you can bring your own design system to these components. Okay, can we make it faster? I think it has been covered with the last two talks. So basically, Asgardeo has MCP server implementation, which is make these things easier. So you don't have to go back and forth with Asgardeo to ID. You can simply configure the MCP server once, and then while you are in the ID itself, you can maybe register your application or change configuration in Asgardeo side, and then get it applied to your code without moving back and forth. Yeah. All right. Then, as of now, SDK, we have these two offerings available for React and Next.JS. And we're working on Remix SDK as well, which will be available very soon. Maybe in a couple of months, that will be also available. All right. So that's all from me. So you can contact me on my email address. So my LinkedIn handle is Gerard.num, and Twitter is Gerard.num. So I'll be allowed to have a chat. I'll be outside at the Asgardeo booth. Please come and have a chat with me.